We'll be starting this video from where we left off in tutorial number 2. Either open these countertops or redraw them. To open a drawing, go to the File tab and you can choose Open. But also note that in recent documents that you may find the file you're looking for. Or click on Open, and then we'll browse to the location where the file is saved. We saved it on the desktop, and we made a folder called Training Drawings, which we can double click, and then we'll see the file named Countertops, which we can select and then click Open. Our objective in example number 9 is to move our countertop so that the top left end of is 12 inches away and 16 inches away from the walls. As we can see, our green geometry is not in that location, so we'll have to move it. So first, we'll make some reference lines by offsetting the edges of the rectangle by the specified values. I'll offset the top line down first. That value is 12 inches. I want to only offset a line and arc, and not as green geometry. And we'll pick the top line, and then choose to the bottom to offset it too. And then we'll finish so that we can choose offset again. The offset on the left side was 16, so I can type in the value and press Enter for OK. And then select the object and select the side. The two construction lines that we offset created an intersection. Our objective is to move the countertops, grabbing them by the end of and moving that to the intersection that we created. You can type M for move, or you'll find a move icon on the Edit tab. Choose Move and then follow the prompts on the command line. First we'll move the countertops, so we'll select all the geometries that make up those shapes. And of course, finish when you're finished selecting. When asked for the base point of in a move command, it's referring to a location or a point that we'd like to grab our objects by. In this case, the top left corner. So we'll pick the endpoint snap, and we'll choose to grab the countertops by this top left corner endpoint. Now that we've picked it up by the endpoint, we are being asked on the command line where we would like to set it down. We would like to set this endpoint down at the point where the two lines that we offset cross or intersect. So we can use a new snap called intersection. Notice when you choose intersection that it asked to select the first line or arc. So do not try to click in the intersection, but rather just choose the first line by clicking on it, and then it changes to select second line. So click on the second line as well. And as you see, the end point of the countertops was moved to the intersection of the offset lines that we created. Now that the countertops are in place, we can move the island. Like before, first we'll create some offset lines by the distances provided in the drawing, 8 inches and 10 inches. So we'll choose offset, and then we can set the distance to 8 inches. Click OK. Select the line to offset and the side to offset too. And then we'll finish, so we can choose offset again and change the distance to 10. Click OK. Select the line and the side to offset too. So we can again use the intersection of the two offset lines that we've created to move the island too. When we select the base point for the island, we'll have to choose the intersection of the flats on the island. Choose Move, and then select Objects, which is the island, and Finish. Now for the base point, we're going to use the intersection. So when it says to select the first line, we'll select and pick on one of the flats. When it changes to select second line, we will click on and select the other flat. That gives us the intersection as if both lines were extended out and crossed each other. Now we want to set this intersection down at the intersection we created with the offset lines. We choose intersection, select one of the lines, and then select the other as prompted below, which completes moving the island into the exact position specified in the drawing, which we can now complete by deleting the offset lines we created to move our objects into position. Our next exercise, example 10, is more moving and positioning parts. As we can see from the drawing, we need to move and rotate and even copy some parts. First, let's move the countertops away from each other. When I choose Move and it says Select Objects, I'm going to pick each line and arc that make up the perimeter of the countertop. And when all 4 are selected, I'll finish. When the command line asks for a base point, I'm simply going to click in the middle of the part to grab onto it. And when it says drag to position, I'll move the part to the side and click to set it down. Parts are much easier to work with if they're joined together. When I place my arrow on the edge of the parts, it shows me what's joined and what's not, because I'm still in the Move command and it's asking me to select objects. Join can be found on the Edit tab. Choose it, and then select objects to be joined together. Only the geometries that are connected by touching endpoints will be joined, so you may select more than one perimeter at a time. After finishing, all the perimeters should be joined. An easy way to check is to go into one of the edit commands that asks to select objects. I'll choose Delete. When I place my arrow on the perimeter of the part, I can see that the entire perimeter lights up, showing me that it's joined. Another useful tool is Show Breaks. It can be turned on through Display Options, or we can turn it on and off from our Park Industries toolbar. When Show Brakes is turned on, we'll see the little white X's on all of our parts. Each part should have one X. If there is more than one X on a part, it means that it is not joined. Continuing on with our exercise, we can see that the two parts that are still within the rectangle need to be rotated. Choose Rotate and then follow the prompts on the command line. Only rotate one object at a time because they both use different rotation angles. When you're finished selecting, then choose the base point, which is the center of rotation. Notice when moving your mouse that the object rotates and also the angle is displayed in the indicator. The closest angle in this direction is 270 degrees, which I'll type in for the rotation angle. Then I'll enter or click the OK to accept the default of one copy. Again, we'll select and then finish what we want to rotate. We'll click in the center of it for the base point or center of rotation. And this island will rotate 45 degrees. So we'll type in 45 and enter for the rotation angle, and we'll enter one more time to accept one copy. Now let's move these parts off to the edge of the rectangle. Choose Move, then select a countertop, Finish. When asked for a base point, click in the center of the top to grab a hold of it, drag it to position, and then click again to set it down. Repeat this process to move the island to the side as well. Notice in our drawing that we need a total of 4 islands. The easiest way to get 3 more is to copy the one we have. Choose Copy from the Edit tab, and then follow the prompts. Copy is the same as Move. Select what you want to copy and Finish. For a base point, pick where you want to grab onto it by clicking on it, and then click to set a copy down and another and another. And now that we have all the parts needed, we can start laying them out on the rectangle as shown in our drawing. I'll start by moving the first countertop into the top left corner of my rectangle. I'll have to offset the 2 lines 10 inches in and 10 inches in. Choose Offset, change the distance to 10, and then click OK. Select the line to offset in the side. Select the line to offset in the side. And now we have an intersection to move our countertop into place. So like before, we'll choose Move and select the countertop that we want to move and Finish. When we grab onto it with the base point, we must use the end of. So I pressed my F6 key, and now we must set it down at the intersection of. So I will press my F9 key. Remember, when using intersection, select the first line and then select the second line. We'll continue this process for the other parts. So first we'll offset, and we'll set the value to 12. We'll click OK, and then we'll select the edge of the countertop and click to offset it to the right. Now we can use the endpoint of this line, or the intersection of the two lines, to move our part to. So we can choose Move, and then select the next part to be moved, follow through the finish, and then we'll grab onto it by the intersection of the two flat lines. And I'll set this point down on the end point of the new line that we just offset. Repeat this process for the rest of our parts. Choose Offset, set the value to 12, click OK, select the bottom of this part, and offset down. We also need another offset line of 10 inches from the left side of our countertop. This will create an intersection to set the next part down. Choose Move, then select the object and finish. Grab it by the intersection and set it down at the intersection. And repeat this process for the last three parts. Now that we've moved all our parts into position, we can get rid of the construction lines that we offset for locations. These lines can be deleted, but they may not always be so easy to select. There is a construction line under the edge of this countertop, as we can see by the white X. That line came from an offset of the island to the left of it. Instead of deleting and trying to select and find all the construction lines, we'll use a feature called Clear Memory. We can find Clear Memory under the Home tab. In the window, we'll check to select the name of the layer that we want to clear, which is Construction. Purple lines are on the layer Construction. Click OK to remove all of the construction lines. And there, we've laid all of the parts out into their proper positions. Thank you for choosing Park Industries.